Good morning, everybody. So good to be with all of you. Look at this. Karma's in here. Karma coming. Karma, karma, Kalimian. Or how do you say that song? I don't know. Duck Lady's here. Truth Delights. Hello. Gaelic Girl is back from vacation. So happy to have her back and so happy that Scott Roush from the behavioral panel basically called it out that he believes Candace and Grandus worked somehow in unison to get Summer gone. We got a lot of stuff to go through today. I hope everybody's ready. Hope you took your Wheaties. That's it. Karma, Camille. Yeah, exactly. That's the one. I can't say it fast enough. My parents wouldn't let me listen to Boy George. Let's take a second and tell everybody good morning. Yvonne said she loves Boy George. I'm more of a, if we're going with European singers, I'm more of a George Michael girl. Yes. Truth Delight said she put her alarm on because she did not want to miss this. Well, let's start with a friendly reminder. Okay? This is from our friend Criminal.
They have no evidence that this is an abduction case.
Well, I knew right away that she was abducted.
Without any evidence of an abduction.
Somebody abducted her.
Think she would be kidnapped? Never.
She was kidnapped.
They can find there was no indication whatsoever of child abduction.
This is the fact. Someone abducted our daughter.
What I'm saying is,
and Dawn's going to die on that hill. Okay? Ronnie Lawson flat out said they have barely gotten to talk to them. Why would you not talk to the people in charge of investigating the disappearance of your daughter? You can talk to YouTube all day. You can talk to the people from Kentucky. You can talk to Ernie. You can talk to any of them. That's not going to solve the case. No way, no how. There is absolutely no sign of an abduction. None. None at all. None. And I have a feeling that they know that there's absolutely no evidence that Summer was ever back up on that hill. The dogs going down the dog trail, that would mean Summer would have had to have walked down there by herself while somebody was down there waiting. If someone carried her, as Dawn suggested, they wouldn't have gotten her scent.
they're not being truthful.
This is Summer has come missing. We've been used and abused by the fucking police.
The child's parents, Don Wells and Candace Bly, are not cooperating.
It's not just the YouTubers, it's the fucking police.
Why are they so cooperating?
No, they're not cooperating right now.
They accused me of selling my daughter's adult fucking TBI and FBI.
The county sheriff says right now Summer's family is no longer cooperating with their searches.
They come in, for the 11th time, kicked our door in.
Little girl's parents, Don Wells and Candace.
Liar. No one kicked your door in. They said, can we look around? If you say no, they'll be like, okay, we'll be back with a warrant. That's it. That's what they do. That is standard protocol. I don't know why Dawn, Candace, and Grandus think they're so effing special. And I want to know why Fred was blessed with their presence, meaning Candace in the afternoon and dawn after the police were everywhere. Why did everyone go see Fred?
Bly are not cooperating amid the ongoing investigation.
She's not in the area, and they know that.
I believe that she would probably be somewhere close by.
Somebody's abducted her and chucked her out of the area.
We found nothing to lead us to believe that she's been abducted or trafficked out of the area.
No, we don't know. Well, we know someone took her because we know.
They just know, don't they? Well, I know what we know, and that is that Grandus, because we're talking about her today, she gave all 3 of her girls up. She walked away, decided she was a lesbian. Okay? That's what she did. Believe it or not, I have friends that are lesbians, and they're amazing parents. They are. But because she says, oh, because I became lesbian, I had to leave my kids. No. For one, you didn't just become that way. You were taking advantage of a woman at the Family Dollar. That's what you did. Okay? That's what you did. You wouldn't believe my circle of friends. I've got our friends Rob and Donnie in New York. They've been together for 25 years. Hell, they've kept their shit together longer than Greg and I can get through breakfast. But that's what she's saying. She made it sound like it was a government thing. That's so crazy. Anyway, so this is what she said. And also, don't forget that her brother is Warren Harrer, one of the most prolific child abusers in Wisconsin. Thank you so much, Gaelic Girl. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I'm going to drop the link because I want Gaelic Girl to come up because I know she's got some things to say. And by the way, the man that did the interview is in our Facebook group. Let me show you. She's connecting. This is our Facebook group. Where is Summer Wells discussion group? Feel free to join. Okay, pray your summer is found soon. That's the show for today. Then we get right here. Justice with Matt Johnson. Is Summer Wells' grandmother telling the truth? New interview with Scott Rouse, behavior and body language expert who investigated the case. That's what we're talking about today. And yes, I did invite Matt to come on, who is knocking at the door. Hello, Denny.
Good morning.
How was your vacation?
Super. Lovely mountain air and sea air and plenty of fun fairs. Grandchildren were with us, so we had a brilliant time. And we celebrated my granddaughter's 8th birthday while we were away as well. So
I love it. I'm telling you, I love it. So what do you think about this? Do you think that Grandus could have something to do with Summer being just gone?
Oh, of all the members of the behavior panel, I particularly like Scott Rice.
Okay.
And it's just a coincidence when we were talking this morning, we both happened to speak about the same thing. Great minds think alike sometimes.
Exactly.
But,
we were right on the same page, were we not?
yeah. And I believe every word he's saying is true. Grandus knows more, but so does Candace. But he firmly seems to believe Grandus is the key to unlocking this whole story of what happened on that day on the hill.
However, she won't cooperate for many reasons. Let's look at this. Evil exists. Clip this. Of course, we know who this bathing beauty is. That's the one and only Grandus. And her brother, who looks exactly like her, looks exactly like Candace.
Absolutely scary.
Yeah, no. He is notorious for what he did to young people.
Mother of missing 5-year-old Summer Wells is currently not living in her camper in Ben Hill Road. She is with her sister at the moment and not sure when she will return. However, we have now learned that Grandma Candy has an older brother with.
Wow.
Put a wig on Candace, and who would she look like? That's
Uncle copying this hairstyle.
That's Uncle Daddy right there. They have the same double chin. They have the same nose. I mean, she has her mother's eyes for real. That is.
Don's even copying his, or trying to copy his hairstyle at this stage.
That's what it looks like too.
Letting his locks grow. Goldilocks, huh?
He looks like the Cowardly Lion in Wizard of Oz. He really does.
Except the Cowardly Lion doesn't wear mismatched shoes.
Because in August of 2021, they let Uncle Daddy out. And because he had been committed, not jailed, committed. Now he's supposed to be in group housing in Wisconsin. But, you know, he had that raincoat on that they call a slicker.
Yep.
And he was slickering his dicker underneath what I call a raincoat, watching kids play.
Yeah. I mean, had I lived in the particular area, I would probably be ringing you for bail or, you know, something. Just the thought of someone like that hanging around a kid's playground is horrifying. Because we all know you can turn your back for 2 seconds and your child's gone over to a different part of the playground. Someone like him, and it's not about beyond the realm of possibility that he would grab a child.
Kind of comes down to this too. If it's a beautiful sunny day and there's not a rain cloud in the sky, why is somebody wearing a damn raincoat with their right arm underneath the raincoat and the raincoat is bouncing up and down? I guess it takes him a long time to get satisfied.
Yeah. I just, you know, it's very hard to understand these, I'm sorry to say it, sick individuals.
They are sick. I know who's not sick. Look who's in here, Pat K. She told me yesterday she might call me back. Wait till she hears about your vacation.
Yep, up mountains. I was actually thinking of her when we were at the waterfalls.
Oh.
Because Pat loves trekking and hiking. Now, I didn't do too much hiking. There was no fear of that. Just high enough to get to the waterfall.
That Grandma Candy has an older brother with a dark past. His name is Warren Harrer, and he is Candace Bly's uncle. He is 63 years old, and the resemblance to Grandma Candy is striking. He is charged with 8 counts of incest with a child. That is utterly shocking, right? He was basically found guilty, but not guilty due to mental illness. In 1994, he pleaded no contest to the 8 counts of incest. There seems to be a very dark and disturbing cycle of abuse that really needs to come to an end. I am not sure how old Candace was at the time of Warren's conviction. However, Rose Marie Bly, who is Candace's youngest sister, was around 7 years old. She is still missing at this time, and there are no solid leads.
Rose and Jeannie look nothing like Candace.
No.
Nothing. Everything I've heard about Rose, whether it's like her high school Facebook group, anything like that, she was hell on wheels calling all of them out. Well, she's missing, and her Summer is missing.
It's a horrible thought, but considering his charges, I often wondered, was she going to spill the beans? If you know what I mean. When she had children herself. Or did something happen to her as a young child?
I don't want to wish that on anybody, but I can tell you right now, there is a very strong resemblance between Confederate flag mask Candace, who was scared of COVID. I couldn't believe that she did that. Who the hell wears a mask in your own house?
Yeah.
And she looks just like her uncle.
If you have any information on the disappearance of Summer Wells or Rose Marie Bly, please contact the relevant authorities.
Yeah. I think COVID would have been more afraid of Candace, to be honest.
You're damn right. You're damn right. So this is the interview that the behavioral panel is picking apart. And I'm glad they are. Because you know what? We can't do God's work on our own every day, Denny.
No. And these guys know their stuff. I mean, their resume tells it all. But I particularly like how Scott Rouse just breaks things down, and he's a no-nonsense approach to it. He's not being influenced by anyone else's opinion except his own and his speciality.
Now, is he the one that learned body language analysis through the military?
Yeah.
Okay. I know they have a lot of people that help, so I just didn't know.
Candace and I got up that morning. She came out and took me into the ER because my leg was messing up on me, and we were afraid.
Yeah. This here is where, my leg was messing up on me. It was your knee.
Thank you, Denny. Thank you. And now she's looking away, like she won't even look at Ansley Daniels because my leg was messing up on me. Okay, let's just go ahead and say she misspoke and she's talking about her knee. Since when does Candace give a shit about anyone besides herself? But the day her daughter goes missing and the day after CPS was at her house, and we already saw what Don and Candace said when the Hatfield and McCoy Museum was up there.
Mm-hmm.
He said, were there any charges against you guys? Candace like, no. And Don goes, oh, yeah, they were. But we don't talk about that because they were bad charges.
Yeah, they had to be. I mean, it appears they were court ordered to sign up over their parental rights, and that doesn't happen unless it is a bad situation. It's almost like Grandus is trying to, she looks away as if she's trying to think, well, what will I say next?
Well, don't think for a second she didn't get pain pills before they went to Sonic. Or what happened. Because there's no reason to go to Walgreens if they gave you a shot of cortisone in your knee. Nobody goes to Walgreens or CVS or any pharmacy and they're like, oh yeah, just pick your shot up and do it yourself. No. They gave me a shot in my knee. That's what she says. Then why did you have to go to Walgreens?
Exactly. I would assume she was prescribed.
Yep, go ahead. Sorry.
I would assume she was prescribed a quite high-grade painkiller, to be quite honest, for when the cortisone shot would wear off. But being prescribed them and using them as directed is another story. But it ties in with her having a nap, because if she took some of the high-grade pain pills on their journey or whatever, on the way home even, yeah, she probably would be, dozy, which many of those pills do leave you, speaking from experience. And she could have had a nap. She could have needed to lie down.
It's not uncommon for a woman of her age that had a very, very busy day and that was in the ER for several hours to not want to come home and take a nap. Would you expect her to do? Redo Mary Lou Retton's routine from the Olympics? Of course.
She wasn't going to come home and clean the house anyway.
No. And so whatever they sent went to the Walgreens, and there is a Walgreens inside that hospital. This went to another one, which is part of the plan. Hence why Candace, Hunter, and Summer were at Warriors Park.
Yeah.
She might have even left Hunter alone with Summer and picked up her mom.
It's highly possible.
You don't even know.
Highly possible, because
for Hunter, there's no way. There'd only be one reason for Candace to cover for Hunter in case something did happen out there, because what she has admitted to doing to him.
Exactly. And ironically has gotten away with it,
Now, my mother-in-law had a plastic knee, and sometimes it would swell up and it would still get sore, and she would get a cortisone shot because of the tendons, the tissue, and things like that in there. But there was nothing more than that.
No. You generally get a cortisone shot into whichever joint is inflamed, and that's basically it. Like, she had a plastic knee, so why she is...
Also, my mother-in-law also walked with a cane. Because when I spoke to her about this case, and I told her, may my mother-in-law, rest in peace, she goes, well, does she walk with a cane? And I said, Not that I've ever heard. She's the one that said, well, you would have to have something to stabilize yourself, especially if you're in pain, because I mean, this is a fake joint. It's going to give out. You've got to have something to stabilize yourself.
I found it funny that they didn't give her a crutch, just even one, to lean on to take the pressure off that knee after having the cortisone injection, if it was as bad as she says it was.
And mind you, we're not giving medical advice here. I'm just telling you what mother-in-law said about the problems she had after her knee replacement, and it would get sore, you know, because your body is rejecting a fake part. Okay. And so would get a cortisone shot. She had to use a cane, and that was pretty much it. As far as the knee brace went, she said that would be impossible. She said it's always recommended ice.
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 You wouldn't attempt. I mean, if a knee brace was needed, they would have put it on at the hospital. But there would be no orthopedic doctor that I know of that would recommend placing a knee brace on a knee, particularly one that's plastic and swollen. There's no doctor would put more pressure on it by putting a brace around it.
But she used the motorized cart around the grocery store and told Candace to quit filming her. She didn't have any knee brace on. All right, let's get to it. Again, no one is going to send you to the Walgreens to get a shot in your knee. No way, no how. Somebody gave her something that they had to pick up at the pharmacy, okay? And it certainly wasn't 800 milligram Advil. It could be trazodone. It could be tramadol. I'm not going as far as hydrocodone, which is what my mother-in-law used to take for her knee pain because it works the best. But with a person Grandus's age and knee pain, that's more than likely what they would prescribe.
Yeah, and tramadol is almost up there with the hydrocodone and the oxys.
Something was wrong with my knee. I have a knee replacement. And she was worried that there was something wrong with it. And she took me into the hospital. And I ended up getting a shot for it.
Did Walgreens even happen?
Exactly.
I know Lisa K. Ruitt said that Summer is on camera at Walgreens. How she would know, I wouldn't know, because Muscles and Mascara told us years ago there's a Walgreens right there. They have their own pharmacy at the hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Did they even Walgreens?
It would be even odd to request at the hospital, well, can you send the script to a different Walgreens?
Oh, they'll let you use whatever pharmacy you want. I mean, you can do mail order if you want. They don't care about that. However, I mean, Candace has said we had to go to Walgreens. Grandus said, I got a shot in my knee. She doesn't mention Walgreens.
No.
And if they did go to Walgreens, it's because they were picking up something totally separate that they did not want to pick up from the hospital, or Grandus didn't want to pick up. She wanted to make sure Candace picked it up.
To get rid of the pain.
Yeah.
And they prescribed me medication to take to get the swelling down out of my knee and around my knee because it was inflamed. And then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was. And then we come back, and I went in my camper, and after we brought my groceries in for me, and the boys helped with that, and of course Summer. And
That there always bothered me.
I lay down and went to sleep.
Okay, so she said that they did prescribe her something to take the swelling down. I don't know what it is, and she doesn't say. And they waited around for her prescription, and Summer went swimming. She said, I believe at the horse stables.
Yeah. I believe, as in that she's making it out like hearsay. Someone told her. That's where Summer went swimming.
She's talking in third person. Marie said you can't get shot in a plastic knee. They don't shoot it into the plastic. They shoot it into where you have tissue, ligaments, or tissue, or like a muscle to alleviate the pain. Yeah, no one's putting anything into a hockey disc.
I got up and I was sitting in my doorway, and we come out, and Candace asked me what I was doing. I said, well, we got to transplant these little cactuses into bigger pots. And we did that, and then Summer come in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite, and then she went in. She said, Mama, I want to go play with the boys. Candy walked her back to the house, and she asked the boys to keep an eye on her, and that's the last time I seen her.
Tell me, when you first realized that Summer was missing, what was going through your mind, and what was it like here?
To be blunt, it was hell. I mean, and I apologize, I'm blunt.
That shoulder
As everybody knows, I have a missing daughter. She's been gone for 12 years.
There. That's it's very telling. She's asked about Summer, and I'm not discounting Rosemary lied, but she immediately goes to Rosemary's story and doesn't directly answer about how she felt when Summer went missing. This is her grandchild.
It's her grandchild. She said it was hell. And I have a daughter that's been, has been gone for 12 years. Been gone.
But she was asked specifically about Summer. And her only response was, it was hell. If that was my grandchild, I would find that a very, there's just no emotion to it. It's like it was hell. It's like she's talking about a bad day. Just a regular bad day. Not the loss of her grandchild. That most of us would probably have to be, well, I would definitely, God forbid, such a thing happen. If it was one of my grandchildren, I'd probably need sedation afterwards.
Yeah. You heard me on the phone. You had to calm me down when OJ was missing that morning.
Exactly.
You were on the phone with me when I was calling Glenpool police, telling them that they had to come find OJ. And I described his St. Patrick's Day collar that his Aunt Jules got for him.
Yeah. But Grandus is talking like, oh, well, it was a hell of a day. I lost my car keys type of the emotion, not a beautiful little girl just suddenly disappeared and my heart was broken.
No. We have a lot of gift memberships coming in Thank you so much to Paper Cut and to Jules.
Welcome, everyone.
Absolutely amazing.
And all I could say is, oh God, not again.
Not again.
And I couldn't do nothing but cry. And we yelled for her, and we yelled for her, and yelled for her. And we could not find her.
And yet she's
And it was
shaking her
so
head
great.
no.
And we never did find her. She called 911, and she called Donnie, and we sent the boys down over the hill, and I stood in front of over by the edge there and watched them. And
Okay, so while the boys were busy inside watching YouTube, playing video games, whatever, they finally figure out they can't find Summer. But then she watches her grandsons. She's like, I stood over by the hill and watched them. So they sent the boys away with pocket knives.
Yeah, I mean, she had a bummed up knee. Was she going to be able to do anything if someone had come up that hill again? No.
But you send 3 boys down there?
Yeah. Where actually you would be putting them in the house and telling them not to move.
Mm-hmm.
Particularly if, as they claim, they assumed, from what Don says, almost immediately, Summer had been abducted. I do notice there that when she's saying certain things, her head going no. Why is she saying it? She's shaking her head no. We yelled, but she's shaking her head no.
Because she's not believing anything she's saying herself.
Exactly. This is all just part of the script, as
well,
they
and
call
she
it.
said she never liked the script. Never liked the script. So I'm trying to be logical about this. And I know people are going to get into that. Yeah, but they're so uneducated and they have low IQs and, they have basically a second-rate education. Love is love.
Exactly. You don't have to be a genius to be heartbroken.
You love your child or grandchild. That's your soul. Those are your feelings. No one's asking you to do algebra like freaking Paper Cut does. You have a daughter missing in Wisconsin and you leave. You're in Tennessee with your camper, okay? Your granddaughter goes missing and then you think it's A-okay for your grandsons to go down the hill with buck knives waiting for the perpetrator to show back up. No.
And you're able to suddenly be Superwoman after needing cortisone injection for your knee.
Exactly.
If someone did appear, it makes no sense. There's no logic to that.
It's always once bitten, twice shy. You're never going to take that chance again. And even though Rose, is a missing adult, she's still missing.
Yeah. And her case is still ongoing.
And I don't think Grandus was ever near that water hole. She kept herself way out of the line of sight.
And was praying to God every minute that nobody would take them. And There was no sign of her.
Do you believe that someone took Summer, or do you believe that she wandered off? What do you believe happened?
I believe somebody took her. I know people say it doesn't happen, but it does happen. It happens in small towns. It happens in big towns. It happens in the country. And I believe somebody took her.
Well, the FBI card unit said that is impossible. Okay? They just said no way. So now let's get to, and I did not know these dudes were in our Facebook group, Denny. Go us.
They are.
Like, go us. My God.
Exactly.
Pat and I and Jules, she met them too, the dudes from the behavioral panel. But now,
Back at CrimeCon, yeah.
At the CrimeCon, yeah. But now the dude hosting the show, I've never met him, but he's in our Facebook group. So let's just see how Scott Roush breaks it down.
I have listened to the fact that she went swimming earlier that day, but then we're going to get into the grocery section and when they get home. But does anything stick out for you on this part at all?
Yeah, too many details. You have no reason to give all those details. You say what happened. You don't go through the minutia of that day. You don't go through all the tiny little things. For someone who's supposed to have experienced an emotional upheaval and emotional trauma from a missing child, grandchild, even the next door neighbor, you don't see that. That's not what you see. We don't see the facial expressions that show grief or sadness. We're just showing one. Her eyebrows are up. Sometimes she goes down where her labella, that little group of muscles there, they'll come together a little bit, but not very much. So right out of the gate, for me, it's looking odd. This doesn't look right.
Now, in case you're new to the case or new to this channel, I want to give you more.
Woo! And by the way, subscribe to this channel. Well, this channel and the one that we are reviewing today.
Excellent work. Do some excellent shows.
It's in there. So they always talk about different muscles and stuff, and so he's that you say is military trained, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Okay.
And I believe he's wrote many books on the subject too, of behavior analysis.
Well, and also I get what he's saying. There's like way too many minuscule details. It's like everything you did up until when Summer went missing.
Yeah. I mean, the over describing my leg was hurting, and then the elaborate description of her knee. Now, I'm sorry, Candace is no Florence Nightingale. She wasn't heartbroken that her mother was in pain that day. I just don't see it. But with Grandus, it's, she's every minuscule detail except for anything to do with Summer on that day.
It is rehearsed BS is what it is.
Uh-huh.
Because she makes sure to tell everybody what she had going on that day, but not when she noticed her granddaughter was missing. That is a 30-second conversation for her.
Yeah.
Screamed and screamed. I watched the boys down there with their pocket knives, and I just knew she was gone. But every other detail between when she woke up to when they got back, groceries and everything. But when
the groceries bit,
that's it.
When she says the boys helped with the groceries, and then as an afterthought, she puts in, and of course, Summer. That always struck me as odd.
Well, I mean, she threw Summer in there because I don't think Summer was there.
No.
She went to take a nap, and I think she told Candace, give it a few hours and call Donnie and say she's gone. Because they know Don is the village idiot. They know that.
Mm-hmm.
They already knew. I mean, hell, they're living on his property. He's working. They're not doing shit.
Yeah. And like it was pointed out before, I know Summer did have a tendency to go off maybe for an hour or whatever, but those missing hours were deliberately missing hours. I don't believe it's that they were doing anything. I believe it's that they were delaying, haven't informed Don and the police.
Yep.
More background. Summer Wells went missing 5 years ago. Here's a report about the interview with the grandmother published by WJHL. It was published 4 years ago, March 2nd, 2022.
On June 15th, the day Summer was reported missing, Harris says she spent the entire day with her daughter and granddaughter. She says it started with a trip to the emergency room to have her knee checked out.
They prescribed me medication to take to get the swelling down out of my knee and around my knee because it was inflamed. And then we waited around for my prescription. Summer went swimming that day at the horse stables, I believe it was.
After the family returned home with groceries, Harris says she...
Okay, but if they gave her a cortisone shot to take down the swelling, why give her more medication to take down the swelling? We all know that intravenous drugs work a lot faster than a pill.
Oh, exactly.
We all know that.
Well, unless... To be honest, you really wouldn't be prescribed anything other than an anti-inflammatory after that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something off. There's something odd about this whole story. I'm sure the police have checked with the Walgreens and are well aware of whatever medication it was she was prescribed. But obviously, they ain't going to tell us.
Pamela Lamb said if she was well enough to go swim, go to the swim hole, grocery store, other stores, then she was well enough to drive herself to the ER. In my opinion, this was all a planned event. And I agree with you 100%. What do you think, Gaelic?
100%. And that's what I said. That Candace is no Florence Nightingale. She wasn't like, oh my gosh, we have to get you to the emergency room. Your knee, there's no way she was that distressed that early in the morning she just had to go and take her mother because she was so concerned. The woman has barely showed, she won't speak about her own missing daughter.
Nobody in their right mind that just got a shot in the knee would say, yeah, let's go swimming and go to the grocery store.
Yeah, and Sonic.
Even if you're on a scooter, that shit hurts. It'd be, get me back home. And what Hunter said about Grandus, Candace Hare being at the swim hole made no sense. She was sitting in the truck putting minutes on her phone. Okay, super duper. But she grabbed the phone on Thursday, 2 days later. Why didn't she just switch it over? She got a whole new phone number and everything.
But yet, Candace, when she was with Chris McDonough, showed that steep incline down to the swim hole and said that her mother hobbled down there. I don't know how she did it.
She didn't.
took a nap, woke up, and repotted cactus plants with her granddaughter. She says Summer ate a peppermint, went inside the house to play with her brothers, and that was the last time she was seen.
Okay, so now we're going to get to the part where she's asked about getting home.
I went in my camper, and after we brought my groceries in for me, and the boys helped with that, and of course Summer. And I laid down and went to sleep, and I got up and I was sitting in my doorway, and we come out, and Candace asked me what I was doing. I said, well, we got to transplant these little cactuses into bigger pots. And
Anything from that part right there? Because I've talked to Chris McDonough, who is a former detective who is also spoke to the family and been on the property. And he said that there is no plants there. There was no plants that needed repotting.
Exactly.
Nothing was repotted. There was like an old ass bucket full of weeds and a few succulents in it.
Where Candace would tell you they were planting flowers, not cacti.
Well, she wouldn't know the fucking difference. She wouldn't know the difference between a marigold and a sunflower. So I don't look for horticulture advice. But no, they're just like, you can look at the TBI most frequently asked questions. They're like, yeah, we saw the bucket. I've seen it. The bucket she's referring to was put down a year before, according to Candace's Facebook. Why is this not enough circumstantial evidence to at least detain these freaks? And I'm being nice to Dawn today. I'm talking about Candace and Grandus.
Yeah. It's beyond belief, but we have to remember Grandus only gave this interview when Ronnie Lawson basically called them out, said they had lawyered up and were not cooperating.
No. And she got mad. She
And
was
then
madder than a wet wasp. She was just like, they knew where I'm at. They know where I'm at. And I'm like, that's not the point. Girlfriend, you need to cooperate. Called him in December about those YouTubers. Okay, so you called about the YouTubers, but you don't call them about Summer. What is that?
Yeah.
How does that make any sense on anyone's planet?
Or as she said, Ronnie Lawson has my phone number if he wants to speak to me.
Yeah, it really works that way. It really works that way. Like, be like, hey, I got a question. They'll be like, can you come in? We've seen Candace in her phone. I'm not answering that. I don't know who that is. I'm not doing that. I'm like, you have a missing child. You should answer every call.
You'd answer every number under the sun, even if it was coming from outer Mongolia, and your phone rang. When you're in that predicament, you'd basically be hopping on the phone just in case. Because it's like,
sleep or your phone's dead, you'd be calling them back. You'd be telling the police, I got this phone number, this phone number, this phone number, this. Sean Hornbeck's mother, anyone, she would send in, because she had a landline, okay? And so it's basically like Southwestern Bell. So she could see everybody that called her and everyone she called. She would turn in her bill every month and say, this is everyone that's called me.
Yeah.
Everyone.
But that's somebody that was cooperating with the police. In this situation, they're not.
True story.
Yeah, no, the interesting thing about that is Mom says she pops right up out of the car, goes into the house, and then Grandma says, I got to plant flowers. Okay. But there are no flowers there, not one. Okay. It looks like concrete inside of those flower pots with all the, cactus and all this other stuff. Okay. This is not a garden where she's planting flowers with Grandma. Okay. And the interesting thing about this is Candace projects and says, yeah, it's really fast. So it's almost like 2 to 5, maybe 10 minutes at its maximum that Summer just disappears. But in Grandma's, one of the interviews she does with the local news station, is her story is much different. Her story is, I went in after we got home, took a nap, came out. After that, that's when the flower story started. So there's a gap in their narrative. Grandma says she was in the trailer sleeping, okay? After getting home, right away, she went into the trailer sleeping, which makes sense because she went to the hospital to get some pain medication for a knee injury. That was the whole purpose of that morning. Okay. So my question was, did she pop one of those pain pills and it made her drowsy? And that would make sense that you're in the trailer having a nap, which fills in the time gap, makes it problematic. Candace makes it sound like they got home. She goes into the house. We come out.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris McDonough spoke to him. He didn't put everything out. Remember, when a video is out, it's not live. It is edited. But they were waiting on pain medication. So either Grandus popped a pill and went to sleep, which she must have very high tolerance, because if I take one of those, I'm out for a good 8, 10, 12 hours.
Yeah, normal people would be. Yeah.
But she took a short nap. Now, if you happen to put it into a slushy, not say it, that would be a different story. And if you look at, Summer in the back of the truck with all the milk around her, she was definitely out. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It was almost like she had, just as an example, what they give you when you're having root canal treatment. She was out, as in totally out. She wasn't curled up and sleeping in a normal position like a child really would.
Mm-hmm.
Children who just fall asleep. Plus the cold bottles, that would be uncomfortable for any child. So how she was so fast asleep against cold jugs of milk, I don't know. Most children would be like, oh, I'm tired, move those. They're cold, I don't want to lie against them. But it's almost like she just dropped asleep where she was, almost unconscious.
But Candace said, excuse me, I've got a cold. Candace said when they got home, Summer jumped up like nothing was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And Summer just all of a sudden was carrying in groceries.
Yeah.
They've all been questioned, but they don't make themselves available for questioning. They've all been interrogated. They just don't say anything.
Yeah.
They don't say anything. And Hawkins County is not good at what they do, because Ronnie Lawson is very light on things that happen to children. He is.
Yeah.
Look at their Facebook page. You can look at their inmate roster, and you can see very, very slim to none. Almost never, which in some counties would be a perfect thing. You see no crimes against children.
Mm-hmm.
None. But today is the election. Today is when Scott Stewart will overwhelmingly get elected. And Nana for Life has already talked to him, and he has flat out said there will literally be a new sheriff in town.
Well, I pray to God, top of his list is, you know, setting new eyes on Summer's case.
Mm-hmm.
Going back over statements. I think with them, there's truth, a little bit of truth in some of the lies. But Summer just popped up. I can only speak from my own experience. When my children used to fall asleep in the back of the car, you could literally stop the car at home and you'd have to gently waken them up. They wouldn't even realize the car had stopped.
I could hear on the road or turn the radio up and my kids would wake up. They know the difference between being in the car and being in bed.
Mm-hmm.
It appears from everything we're hearing right now, she might have had a little capsule of something in her slushie.
I'll unload the groceries. Grandma says, hey, let's plant flowers. Okay. They plant flowers. She gets a piece of candy, goes in the house, disappears. Okay. It's almost like 5-10 minutes at its most. Okay. But grandma has herself inside the trailer sleeping. Okay. That's a real problem.
He questions that part of the timeline. Didn't
See, I don't believe that because I've seen the inside of that trailer. Let me try to find the picture. There's no there's no water, there's no heat, there's no air. Not saying that means a lot to someone like Grandus, but considering it was so hot that day, you would think you would want to be somewhere with some airflow. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, a fan running, something.
It's just so convenient that she happened to have a nap at that particular time, and yet, for all the talk of the knee brace, Grandis actually never brings up, oh, Candy came over and put on my knee brace.
No, she didn't bring that up at all, does she?
No. Which is part of Candace's story, that she went over to put the knee brace on her mum, and that's why Summer had, you know, she wasn't in the house when Summer disappeared.
All right, so here she is in the camper, and remember, if you all can look at your screen, I know some are on tablets, some watch it on TV, some watching, you know, from your phones. That's her camper. It's full of shit. And there is no water that goes to it. There is no electricity. It's basically a place for her to hoard and store stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
she bought a little refrigerator, but there's no electricity to it. It's still got the sticker on it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's like going into a tin can for a nap in blinding heat.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make sense. And maybe if you're acclimatized to that, but the only other reason I can think of that you would sleep in those conditions is that you had taken those pain pills and they knocked her out.
She'd be dead.
Yeah.
There's zero airflow. She's under the influence of a painkiller. But she made sure to tell everyone she gave Summer a peppermint. And then when she just jumped right up, they had to plant the flowers.
Yeah. And after a visit to the ER, would you really be in the humor of going out to plant flowers? In inverted commas?
No. That would not occur to anyone. No one. And the only person's word I can take for this is hers when she said there was no water or electric. Electric is one thing, but I need to have water.
Yeah.
I have to have water. Okay? I've got to be able to flush. It could be a nice day outside and I can leave the camper door open.
Yeah. I just, yeah.
Anything stick out to you?
There's still no emotion. Still no emotion that should be there. I like Chris. He's great. But what was there was one thing can you rewind it a little bit? There's something there when she said something that got me.
Candace asked me what I was doing. I said, well, we got to transplant these little cactuses into bigger pots. And we did that. And then Summer come in and had a piece of peppermint, which is her favorite. And then she went in. She said, Mama, I want to go play with the boys. Candy walked her back to the house. And she asked the boys to keep an eye on her. And that's the last time I seen her.
We're still not seeing any of the emotions we should see on her face. We're not seeing any of it. This is not someone who experienced a trauma like that, in my opinion, because we don't see the remnants of that. We don't see what's left over from that. We don't see any sadness. We don't see any her being deep in thought about that. She's deep in thought about what she said before. She's tracking her earlier story, whatever that means for this situation. I've always been under the impression that if anybody had something to do with what happened to that child, she would have some more information than she's been given out.
All right, let me play a little bit more.
Yeah, she's trying to recount her lies as best she can. Do we have any moderators in here? Because Burke Manuel 861 says this panel guest sounds like she might be on some pain pills. She is from Ireland, and no one is going to be rude to a panel member anymore. So if Stacy, Poppy, anyone want to take care of that, that's fine. Because I don't want to spend 2 seconds on that bullshit. Where is Andy? That is ridiculous. We all have different accents.
When you first realized that Summer was missing, what was going through your mind, and what was it like here?
To be blunt, it was hell. I mean,
that's not the question she asked her.
As everybody knows, I have a missing daughter. She's been gone for 12 years. And all I could say is, oh God, not again. And I couldn't do nothing but cry. And we yelled for her, and
She said all she could do was say, oh, not again.
Yeah, but that's not the question she asked her. She asked her what she thought about that, and she said it's hell. That's not the right answer for that question. That's not the right answer, and that's not the right reaction to be giving for that. I'm telling you, the emotions aren't there for this. Like when you sent me the link for this, I just got to watch it because we knew all this stuff before we got on here. Just briefly ran through it, and watching this again, when it's bigger on my screen here, something's up here. That's what I would think. If there's anybody that knows what happened to that child, I think she would know. If something has happened to it besides somebody taking the child or.
I agree totally.
He said she knows. She knows.
Not I think she knows, but she knows.
And by the way, can we have a round of applause for how strong this community is? We don't like dumb fucks in here like Burke. We're not doing that. You want your free speech? You grab the fucking link. Lisa A said, yeah, not playing with that one. Don't mess with Gaelic. Don't think so.
Well, please come up and ask me.
Yeah. Grab the link and come up. Saddle up, Lone Ranger. You have no friends. That's the reason I call you the Lone Ranger.
I mean, seriously, we're discussing a little girl that's been missing now 5 years, and my accent is a problem. And no, I am not on any pain pills currently. Though maybe I might head off like Grandus to the ER later and just see would they give me some.
I can't take pain pills. You know, I told you about like when I cut my wrist with the chainsaw and I had 27 stitches and they gave me Lortab. I couldn't poop for a week.
Yep.
And after I had my surgery, you know, when they took out my ovary, boy, that thing was nasty. And they gave me pain pills. They just constipate me.
Mm-hmm. They do. That was my first thought. You remember back to Candace's video being backed up? Remember that lovely video she decided to share with everybody? Pain pills will do that to you.
Now, when my son broke his hip, you know, he had to have the pain pills, and it was all we could do to get him, you know, moving around. He didn't have any problem moving around, even though it hurt so bad. But he had to eat all kinds of raw foods with them. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm talking like prune juice, applesauce. But when you're sleepy from the pain pills and you're letting something heal, it's hard to do.
Very, extremely hard.
Yeah. Candace throwing up her, you know, right leg and pulling up her left shoulder and going, ugh. And I could smell it through the YouTube. Nasty.
Yep. Of all the things to share.
He's saying, going back through Grandus's interview, his belief is that she knows a lot.
Of course she does.
Like that, I think she would be the one for information, because for some reason, and it could be all, you got to keep in mind, you got to take into context everything going on with this situation. There could be all kinds of things we're not aware of, but that's not the way a family member looks when a child goes missing. This is not the way they talk. I know, because I've seen that a lot, and that's not what we're seeing. That's not what we're seeing here.
And this is someone that has a missing daughter of her own. So she has a missing daughter, and then she has a missing granddaughter. So that's what she's kind of talking about too. And you're right. You know, you would expect to see a little bit more.
We never did find her. She called 911 and she called Donnie, and we sent the boys down over the hill, and I stood in front of over by the edge there and watched them. And was praying to God every minute that nobody would take them.
Isn't that a weird thing to say? We were praying that no one would take the boys.
So you're basically sitting on your dead ass and you're praying to God that nobody would take your 3 grandsons. But when someone did, as in the state of Tennessee, you got your ass in the truck and you went up to see your brother, as in Warren Harrer.
Mm-hmm.
And people say, well, she had a planned vacation, Brooks. Brooks, she had a planned vacation. I don't care if she was doing a tour of the world.
If you'd a $20,000 luxury cruise planned,
you would be like, no, I got things going on at home.
Yeah. You'd be like, Mike, how could you go? You're one of the most important people in your life is missing. Or you want to be there to support your daughter, or you should want to. But I don't think it's that kind of relationship.
Mm-mm.
It's like I'm not quite sure if you put it as the relationship extends to whatever they can cover up and keep hidden.
Well, my bird's eye view shows that Grandus and Candace have always had a life of convenience. When kids are convenient, given to the state. When things aren't convenient, just leave. When things aren't convenient, you just buckle up and you just go. Because the day after her grandsons were taken by the state of Tennessee, she went to Wisconsin.
Uh-huh.
And you've got Lisa K. Ruiz going, but that was a planned vacation. Let me tell you what. If the state of Oklahoma ever laid a hand, touched one hair on my kid's head, my mom would have been right there at the courthouse saying, no. They're coming with me. She has never tried to intercept even once to get Andrew, Candace III, the one that was taken in Arkansas, Joe, Waylon, Wyatt, and she damn sure didn't give a shit about Summer or her daughter Rose being missing.
Nope. She just wanted to hightail it out of there.
Yeah. If someone told me right now my granddaughter was in state custody, you wouldn't hear from me for a very long time.
Exactly.
I damn sure wouldn't be visiting a pedophile fucking family member in Wisconsin.
Yeah, because you're trying to seed in your mind somebody's taking that child. That's one of the things that bothers me as well from earlier. She's trying to put that picture in your mind of the possibility of that happening because it happened before, to make you think she actually believes that's what happened to it and tries to sell that story as to somebody's taking the child, which I believe she says here in just a bit, not long from now. But there's no emotion here. There's no true emotion here. This is a show. This is put on.
And this is not too long after little Summer went missing.
There was no sign of her.
Do you believe that someone took Summer, or do you believe that she wandered off? What do you believe happened?
I believe somebody took her. I know people say it doesn't happen, but it does happen. It happens in small towns. It happens in big towns. It happens in the country. And I believe somebody took her.
So she believes that someone took her, but she didn't answer the question if she had anything to do with it.
Yeah, she.
Exactly.
And she won't. ICU said Candace was 12 when Warren was charged. True story. And remember, there's 8 separate counts of incest. That doesn't mean that there weren't more children. I hope there weren't. I hope there weren't more children. But we all know when someone gets pulled over for DUI, it's not the first time they did it. And I will say right now that Grandus is very protective over her brother, where most of us would be just like, they would write that person off.
Yeah, I'd be like, no. He may be my brother, but I have to cut ties with him. I couldn't stand by that.
No. No one could. But the resemblance is uncanny. I mean, don't you think?
Yep.
Not making accusations. I mean, I'm just seriously picking out, resemblance.
Yeah.
I mean, this would be a family where you would say, I don't know who she looks more like, the mom or the dad.
Exactly.
Doesn't think somebody took that child. I don't think. To me, I'm sitting over here getting here's what happened. You never know exactly what happened in situations like this. There's no way to tell, but I can tell you we're not saying the things we should be seeing, and she's saying things she shouldn't be saying, not just to protect herself, but she doesn't know what not to say, if that makes sense. So she's putting a picture in her mind of somebody taking the child, because then there's a possibility of them taking other children. So she's got to stand up there and watch them. That's the children she has down the hill or whatever, because they're that brazen. And she knows that happens. And notice how many times we see shrugs with her. We actually see a single shoulder shrug when she's talking about that as well. So I would focus on her. I've spoken to Candace in depth. I talked to her a lot. A couple of times, and that's not allowed. I think she knows a little more than she's saying as well. But I think if something had happened, this is what I think. Just suggestion. It might be those two together would know what happened to that child. That's what it looks like to me. They would.
Dear goodness, that is a bombshell. This man knows what he's talking about. Of course, Ernie and his new friends will pick this apart. I don't care.
Nope,
it's going to come down to those two.
And it's only those two that were there when Summer disappeared. As far as we're aware, Don was at work.
Don was at work, and no one has ever placed him on the property.
Nope.
And other than that, Candace went down to see Fred. Grandus claims to have been in the camper the whole time. Then Candace came back home and she left again. So let's look at Warren Harrer. Okay, look at that. Look at the Fabio of Wisconsin. Imagine that breeze blowing through your hair.
God, imagine having that hair.
Now let's look at his niece. Same eyes, same nose, same mouth, same double chin, same chin. I look nothing like any of my uncles or aunts. Maybe a couple of traits like, oh my gosh, what time, when did you learn how to tell time? Oh, in, first grade. Yeah, me too. Things like that.
Yeah.
But your parents are who you get your traits from. She looks nothing like Jeannie or Rose. She looks nothing like Kenneth Bly. There's Warren again. Look at his nose. Look at his chin. Look at the double chin. Of course, this is a mugshot, so he's not posing like a supermodel like Candace normally does. Same hooded eyes, same eyebrows that go a certain way. And then here we go. If I didn't know better, I would think somebody put a wig on Can't.
Know what not to say, if that makes sense. So she's putting a picture in her mind of somebody taking the child, because then there's a possibility of them taking other children. So she's got to stand up there and watch them. That's the children she has down the hill or whatever, because they're that brazen. And she knows that happens. And notice how many times we see shrugs with her. We actually see a single shoulder shrug when she's talking about that as well. So I would focus on her. You know, I've spoken to Candace in depth. You know, I talked to her a lot, a couple of times, and that's not. I think she knows a little more than she's saying as well. But I think if something had happened, I'm just gonna you know, this is what I think. Just suggestion. It might be those two together would know what happened to that child. That's what it looks like to me. They would know something. Is the grandmother still with us, quote unquote?
I believe so, but she doesn't do many interviews, and I've been told that she even moved from the area.
Okay. Yeah, that would make sense.
Let me play one other short clip of the grandmother talking about her missing daughter.
Because I am sick and tired of the lies.
Missing Hawkins County 6-year-old Summer Wells' grandmother, Candace Hare, says it was hard to speak on camera as she's been reliving a familiar nightmare.
Rose has been missing for 12 years. I miss her dearly. She's the baby of the family.
Hare's youngest daughter and Summer's aunt, Rosemarie Bly, went missing from Wisconsin on August 21st of 2009.
To go through it again with my granddaughter, Summer, is very heartbreaking. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is what a parent goes through, what a grandmother goes through. It's the not knowing is what tears us up. It's the not knowing.
There's actually emotion in there. There was some emotion with that, actually true emotion. And we know that because of the way what's called the grief muscle sort of happens up in here for her. That's when these muscles here, the glabella, group up, and then that pushes down from the forehead and makes an upside down horseshoe. And so that's one of the things you look for with somebody who's really grieving. For, you know, you can be either, if somebody gets shot, there's a lot of pain, you'll see that. If someone's really grieving, you'll see that. Or if they're reliving an experience that's got a lot of emotion attached to it that's negative, you'll see that as well. So that was in there a little bit.
Rose has been missing for 12 years. I miss her dearly. She's the baby of the family. I had 3 girls, and she's my baby. Yeah. Candace is my baby too, but she's my youngest one. And it's heartbreaking, and then have to go through it again with my granddaughter, Summer, is very heartbreaking. And that's what a lot of people don't understand, is
true story. I don't understand. I don't. She said to have to go through it again is heartbreaking. Okay, but you didn't go through it the first time because you left. Rose is still missing.
Exactly.
That case is not completed. And then she said to have to go through it again with my granddaughter Summer is heartbreaking. Well, what are you going through? You left again. So what are you going through? I mean, it's lottery odds for one person in your family to go missing. One person that you know. I don't mean someone that just got off the grid for a few days. I don't mean a kid that wanted to stay over at his friend's house a little longer and just said, don't answer the phone. I don't mean things like that. I'm talking true missing, which can only be foul play. An abduction is foul play.
Yeah.
So what is she talking about? To go through this again? Uh-oh, someone's knocking at the door. Please be Kristen. Please be Kristen. Oh, hello, Basement Jesus. What's going on?
Sorry to disappoint you. It's not Kristen.
It's okay. So what are you thinking? Grandus might be suspicious?
Well, yeah. It's not even a question at this point. That's the first time I've seen this. But yeah. Definitely something fucky there.
All right, let's get back to it.
What a parent goes through, what a grandmother goes through. I know it's hard for them if they pass away from COVID or some other tragedy.
Oh, dear God.
It's the not knowing is what.
Is she fucking crazy?
Yeah, COVID.
They
seems
passed
to be
away
involved in everything.
something. I mean, were they trying, I mean, for her to bring that up.
Yeah.
From COVID or something, but it's the not knowing. Are you serious?
Yep. Like to even bring COVID into it. COVID had nothing to do with Summer's disappearance, and certainly not Rose's. It wasn't even her child.
If it's COVID or something, but it's the not knowing. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That is so weird.
Tears us up. It's the not knowing.
So I did see true emotion in that. It was true sadness.
But she says at the end, just not knowing. Does she know more than she's letting on? I mean, she's making a statement of, the worst part about all of this is not knowing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's true. I do hear that a lot as well. And that's the big fear, not knowing what's happened to your child, not knowing where they are, that kind of thing. I didn't see anything in there that was really weird or odd or out of place. I don't think she would be referencing not knowing in any other way but that, what she's talking about there. But I see where you're coming from. But I don't think so. That's quite common for when you see a real situation like that. So maybe something did happen to her real daughter that she's not, has nothing to do with. But when it comes to the granddaughter, that's where I would say, talk to her. Talk to her.
Woo!
And, in our talks before about.
She's like, you can tell she has real remorse about her daughter, Rose. But she said when it comes to her granddaughter, she's shut down because she has always protected Candace at all costs. She knows what a nasty bitch she is.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, the interview was more about Rose than Summer. Summer might have been mentioned 3 or 4 times, and only as a side piece when this interview was meant to be about Summer. And as I said, she only gave it because Ronnie Lawson called them out for not cooperating.
That's the only reason she came forward. The only reason.
That's exactly what makes all of it suspicious. It's just the fact that she's not mentioning anything about Summer at all. It's just trying to basically make herself seem innocent in everything.
Exactly.
Like, oh, let me justify everything that I've done during this time, but not talk about anything that's relevant.
Well, I mean, history is a very good predictor of what's going on right now. And the fact that she skated her ass away when Rose went missing and she went to Tennessee to be with Donnie and Candace. And Don's a village idiot. Is he a pedophile? He admitted to it. He is. Is he a murderer? I don't think so. I just don't. But you see,
I think he's definitely too soft to, even though he's a fucking pedo. I still think he's too soft to commit murder.
no, he made it clear he's not going back to prison. I know a lot of people say, "Oh no, he did it. He got home. He did it," and all that stuff. No, he's not that calculated. I mean, this dude got caught stealing red panties out of an old dresser. Okay. But we see Warren Hare, and then we see his niece. They look exactly alike. And that has been a crawl in Grandus's ass for a long time. Why is this one so fucking dumb? Why is this one looks nothing like you or her dad? No one looks just like her damn uncle.
Yeah. And I mean, that picture of Candace, I think that was on the Dr. Phil show. And that's around the time that when they tried to press her. And, you know, they did actually say, we believe you no more. And she said, it's not helping me.
Other subjects, other people, you have mentioned that sometimes there's half truths, like, in a statement like that, I don't know what happened to her after something else, or I don't know where she is now, versus, that doesn't always answer the question. I don't know overall what happened.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. There's a big difference there as well. When somebody in their family goes missing and you start talking about, oh, what do you think happened or whatever, and they give you this blast of 100 different things, or they'll zero in on one, and it'll be one that sounds plausible, but you just get a weird feeling about it. And that's what I think is going on here. Because usually they'll say, I don't know what happened. And so many different things could have happened, but she zeroed in on the one like that and said, here's what happened. And so did Candace. So that's what makes me.
Another note here, Matt, is look at that photograph on the wall. See the girl there on the wall? Okay. In the distance. Yes, right there.
Here. Yeah.
Yeah. That's Candace's sister. Okay. She vanished in Wisconsin without a trace. And her case is still open to this day. And so I thought
you reference it as well, right? Did you know that ahead of time?
No, I had known that, yes, they had another family member who had disappeared. Okay? But but when I saw the photograph, I wanted her to tell me more about that particular circumstance as well, if she knew. And you'll notice pretty quickly she didn't want to go there, so I didn't want to go there. I figured, okay, we'll have enough time to talk about that later on.
That's my little sister. That person.
Oh, that's Rose.
That's Rose.
Oh, wow.
I will say this. We all know that Candace is not exactly a home interior decorator. She doesn't do the knickknacks and make sure that everything is feng shui. Okay? I mean, they've got electric cords hanging out of their ceiling. They don't even have a bathroom door. But there's a picture of her sister. So either Candace put it up to remind her mother of something she could have been involved with. I know Dawn didn't do it. Or Grandus did it. Because it's been there for years, way before Summer went missing. You can see it from the Facebook photos.
And I mean, when questioned about it, Candace shut it down straight away.
Yeah, that's my sister. Yeah, that's my sister. That's what she said.
So that picture's been hanging on that wall for years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But you notice there's not one photo of Summer or the boys.
No, nothing else is framed around the house. Only pictures, nothing like that. Just from what I've seen. I mean, they could be everywhere, just not photographed on Facebook or her amazing TikTok. I mean, I don't know. But the only picture that I know of that's framed that's Rose. And then you've got, freaking utility cords coming through the house. Talk about a fire hazard, because, look at all the shit everywhere. And how many freaking paper towels do you need?
I was going to say, that's quite a few rolls of toilet paper there, so at least she's wiping.
Yeah, someone is.
Yeah. Hygiene's important.
And those certificates next to it, I mean, and these are weak ass frames too. I hate when people give me a weak ass frame. If you want to give someone a nice frame, give them a nice frame, not something just kind of fall apart. You know, I mean, come on, do it up. But, you know, those certificates are because Dawn is one of the top 10 drywallers in America.
Press X to doubt.
Huh?
One of the top 10 drywallers in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can definitely tell by the lean-to that they built on the addition.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to find me a drywaller because I need my garage done.
Wow. And who's the guy?
That's her ex-husband.
Currently.
Wow. Do you think he had anything to do with that?
I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to go there.
Can't say.
How's your mom deal with that?
It's difficult.
Yeah, I know.
You wonder a little bit.
What is it that you would ask her if you were face to face with her?
I would ask her the same things that I would ask Candace, or that I did ask Candace before. I would get into the details of what happened to that, and then I would match those two stories and see how close they are. Candace's story and then her story. That's why I'd like to talk to her, so I could ask her some of those questions. And then I remember and we also have on video all of Candace's reactions. I've seen those a lot to the questions I asked her there. And I would ask her if she is under the impression anything had happened to that child outside of just like a normal kidnapping, because that's an odd situation. I would bring that up as well and say, in a situation like this, you're out in the middle of nowhere, man. You're out in the middle of nowhere. I know there's workmen and things like that, but what's happened here that you are assuming doesn't happen very often out in those situations like that.
Scott Rouse, thank you so much for your time and your insight into.
Yeah, he's bang on.
Amazing. And by the way, I believe ICU put it in there. If you want to watch it in its entirety, you can. And let's just go through this real quick. I'm going to start with Gaelic Girl. Imagine how unlucky a woman like Grandus could be to lose a granddaughter and a daughter. Both females, both very pretty.
Yeah. They're actually lottery odds. Or, about as much chance of being struck by lightning.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You get a better chance of being struck by lightning than something like that happening.
And they say lightning doesn't strike twice. And yes, here we are.
Not in the same spot, but I can tell you right now, it struck their family. Now let me ask something to Basement Jesus. If you went up to Ben Hill Road, would you drink one of Candace's RC Colas?
I don't like RC Cola.
That's not the point. When someone is being a host and what's all the background noise?
What is it?
I just hear a bunch of background noise. If you were up there, would you accept what the host gave you? Would you just say, oh, thank you, and drink it? Or would you be like, no, I don't like that? Because it's easy to say, I don't like Coca-Cola, and they'll bring you something else. They would not drink that RC Cola at all.
Oh, hell no. I mean, I'd take it and hold on to it, but no, I would not drink it.
No way.
Well,
I'd drink water out of their septic system before I'd take something that they fucking handed me.
Exactly.
Well, Navalis, who I think has had a great nose for true crime, he called out everything with the Delphi case. He called out everything with Michael Vaughn, and he was on this from the beginning. It must be something about the Irish. Can we talk about that, Denny?
Yeah, we kind of like the mysterious and mystery, and you know, Nablus in particular had a big draw for true crime. He was really, really into it. And the reason he started his YouTube channel was most of his friends really weren't, you know? They didn't want to hear him prattling on about it. And it's a pity. I miss him.
I do too. I thought he did great work. Even if people didn't respect his theories, there's really not one theory that hasn't had some substance to it. True story. So he put this out years ago, and let's go through it.
Go missing and stay missing. There are hundreds of thousands of people reported missing. 99% of those return home are found safe. Of the remaining 1%, most of them turn up dead, and a tiny fraction are never found at all. They just, it seems, vanish into thin air. And it's not a lot. It's not as much as you might first think when.
Exactly.
Off topic. Why does he say tin air?
He's from Cork, and it's their accent.
Okay, all right. Can you pronounce H's, Denny?
I can, but thin.
It's not. Yeah, it's not. I have quite a few Irish.
Okay, so let me give you a sentence, Denny.
It's just our dialect. I'll put it that way.
And I love it. I love it. Thank you, Kimberly Mann, for gifting 5 Crime Lines and Lies membership.
When you look at the report, you look at the stats of the amount of people who are reported missing. In May 2021, the FBI conducted an internal audit of all the field offices, and they compiled a list of active missing persons under the age of 21. Cases that need some fresh leads. Some date back decades. And this was done, I think, last year for the National Missing Children's Day. How many were on that list? 43. Probably not as much as you might think. By the time this video is up, I will put that list up on my community tab if you want to have a quick look. But it's not too many. 43 in the grand scheme of things isn't a lot. And you kind of get the drift. There's not a lot of people age 21 and under who go missing and stay missing. The odds of 2 in one family is incredible. And
almost impossible.
Yeah.
Almost impossible. Like we've talked about this for years, Denny. I mean, this is like rolling the dice in Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, you would literally have to have somebody damn near targeting your family specifically to have those odds.
Exactly.
Mafia members don't have that many people missing from their homes.
Nope.
It doesn't work that way. Hey, Denny, can you say a sentence for me?
I can.
This turkey.
Sorry, what is it?
This turkey talked.
This talked?
Love it. Thank you.
A couple of weeks ago, I sat down. I was being a bit of a smartass, and I said, do you know what? I'll try to calculate the probability of that happening for Candace and Grandma Candace. I liked maths and applied maths in school. Maths and science were my thing. Languages, not so much. Always envied people who could do both. But anyway, I was a bit arrogant thinking that I could get a number for this. After about 30 minutes of trying to calculate the odds, I gave up because there's just too many variables and too many caveats inside her. Am I just to look at the United States? Just there? Does it count if somebody is in a similar situation for a couple of days? Where's the cutoff point for stay missing? I ran into a lot of issues. I started looking for examples all over the world, street children in Russia, poor families near train stations in India, stuff like that. I couldn't find one, but even if I could, the problem there is there probably was little or no investigation done at all to find the mistake.
True.
I agree. I agree with Nablus. Okay, I do. He believes that Hawkins County just basically scooted the plate across the dinner table saying, all right, TBI and FBI can do it.
Yeah.
How many tips did they turn in to the TBI? I would say slim to none, because Ronnie Lawson is such a freaking warlord that he wants to keep everything calm in his county.
And I mean, Pruitt just likes to send out job applications if you email him.
Benny told me that Pruitt believes she was eaten by a bear. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
That would be the easiest crime to solve.
Yeah. Bears don't. You'd see buzzards and, you know, other things, because bears don't eat, there'd be bits and pieces left behind. Eaten by a bear, but nobody has ever seen this bear. Now I know Candace was afraid of what was it, coyotes and bears. So maybe he believes her story. Don't know.
Well, see, that's the thing. Where they're at, it's black bear territory. You're not going to have grizzlies. You're not going to have brown bears. Black bears will avoid you at all costs unless you are actively like right near a black bear young. They're going to run from you 90% of the time.
Not always.
That's why I said 90% of the time.
Yeah. Our friends Rob and Donnie, they were in upstate New York, and they were unpacking their truck, to camp for the weekend. And a bear crawled in and ate all their food and just walked away. Okay. As far as a bear coming up, and I'm no bear scientist, there are people that definitely know the difference between bear prints and human prints.
Oh, certainly. And nobody in the whole community had spotted a bear around that time. Just coincidentally, one ate Summer.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean, Pruitt will say anything to anyone that calls. Oh, we think a bear got her, and he'll hang up. I mean, every time I talk to him, well, you can fill an application. That's it. I mean, he has no rat's asses to give. If he had a pocket full of fucks, he wouldn't give you one.
In person.
Exactly.
The odds of this happening to Candace are huge. You have a much better chance of winning the lotto. The odds of this happening to Grandma Candace are astronomical, especially if I introduce the fact that Rose and Summer went missing in separate states. You happen to be in that state when they went missing. That's just one of a kind stuff. Grandma Candace is the unluckiest grandmother in the world. She has to be nominated. She's definitely getting a nomination for it. The odds are so high that when you really think about it and try to comprehend those odds, a giant elephant pops in the room. The chances that she has guilty knowledge of at least one of those cases, I don't know which one, I have no idea, but the chances that there's guilty knowledge in at least one of those cases is high. If I was a betting man, and I do have €5 on the Grand National every year, I will put my money on that. I understand the probability and the odds of this happening once. It can happen to anybody, but twice, it's a bit much. I would happily take that bet. And it's just maths. I would say this to Grandma Candace's face. If I was friendly with her, if I knew her, that's something I'd say. You are either the unluckiest grandmother in the world, or you know something about one of these cases. So let's talk about Rose. I posted yesterday the 2019.
Could you imagine talking to someone that says, my daughter's missing and then my granddaughter? How would you even complete a sentence?
Exactly. I mean, honestly, in all probability, if it was a stranger, you would be thinking, oh, yeah, this just sounds way out there. We're just making this up. If you didn't know this case and know this truly happened, because it's not like Grandus shows emotion that would make you believe this happened.
I would assume they were on drugs.
Yep.
Then once it was proven to me that there's two people totally missing out of their family that no one could find, I would be like, oh my goodness. Microdot said they are just throwing out distractions away from where people should be looking for summer. Yeah, like Ernie and Prayer Garden. They want everyone looking at that cemetery. That's what they want, as opposed to where the actual investigation is, which is Ben Hill Road and Van Hill Road.
Yep. And Chris McDonough says it all the time. He has never left that hill. That whatever happened, happened on the hill.
No. We've had some bears, believe it or not, in Oklahoma, and they're easy to spot. Real easy.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, you would assume somebody would have reported seeing a bear if that is John Pruitt's story.
But if Ernie wants to get the permits and dig up a grave, that's fine. But him and Tiffany and what's her name, Chasing, are saying I lied about every phone call I made, even though everything was done live.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if there was anything in that, TBI would have examined that by now. And to be fair, they're not going to go around exhuming bodies unless they have something really, really reliable to go on, because it's distressing both for the families of that person as well. And even to be speaking about doing such a thing has to be distressing for that family. Their loved one is buried there.
You think? To some people, that means a lot.
Yeah. I mean, in my tradition, that's sacred ground. You don't touch it. You go there to honor that person. And if you're into praying, you say a few prayers and bring flowers. It's to honor the person that you've lost. And the
There's
last
a
thing you
reason why
want.
it's called rest in peace.
Exactly.
Leave my body the fuck alone. Once I'm in the ground.
And the money that's being raised to do this is crazy. If law enforcement felt the need to do it, they would do it. I mean, they exhumed the grave of John Benet Ramsey's sister that was killed in a car accident. She obviously has nothing to do with John Benet being dead. They re-exhumed the body of Michaela Jones, for further testing.
Exactly.
If law enforcement says there is a reason to do it, they will. And here I make all these phone calls and I get people like Tiffany and Chasing and Ernie after my ass. That's crazy.
Police press conference for Rose Bly, the one in which they released the video, and I put the video in the press conference. I tried to increase the audio of the questions so people could hear it, and I was surprised at how many people actually haven't seen that before. That's the first thing I came across when I had a look in Rose's case. That was my introduction to the case, and I think it's a good video to start off with because I want to give Rose her own playlist. She's her own person. This is its own case, and I think that's a good video to start with. And the police have asked people to share this particular video on social media, so that's important. In the video that they play at the press conference, Grandma Candace is the center, is the star of the video. And if you haven't seen this before, there's straight away you notice a kind of disconnect because she's pleading for information for her daughter to come home, but when Summer Wells' case happens 2 years later, she doesn't want to talk about it anymore. You wonder what might have happened in that short time period. You also wonder why the husband isn't there. The video is trying to pull on you emotionally, and the best way to do that would have been with her kids. They were babies when Rose went missing. They don't have much memory at all of her, if any, I think, which is very sad. And maybe that would be just totally unfair to them. And I completely understand. But that was my introduction to the Rose case, seeing this press conference, seeing this video where Grandma Candace is at the center of it. I only came across this last year after a Candace interview. Like, I've never heard of the Rose Bly case before Summer Wells. I worried that I was coming into it with some confirmation bias from the Summer Wells case and maybe a bit too hyper-focused on Grandma Candace, but she's the one that's in this video. And it's interesting that they either chose her or asked her to do it. There's also some very interesting editing happening in the middle of the video. Probably completely coincidental, but you'll start to see that very early on in this case. There's a few coincidences with Grandma Candace. So this was my introduction to the case. Then I had a quick Google for articles and things I could find. A Google, not research. Those two words seem to be interchangeable these days when they're completely different. I had a Google and I read 10 to 20 articles, the ones that I could find and access without a VPN basically. And I would encourage everyone to do the same. If you haven't looked into this case before, just do that just to give yourself a quick introduction. And I was aware of my confirmation bias going into this, but you still are dragged a little bit in Grandma Candace's direction. First thing you do obviously is look at the husband. Like all cases like this, best place to start, most likely. And just a quick one on Rose's husband, because I know people are probably losing their minds in the comments here already telling me that he did it. Yes, he filed for divorce after it. Yes, the relationship was rocky, but I believe he was ruled out. Also, people were telling me yesterday that because he looked for custody of the kids, that this is a red flag. I don't see it as that at all. I see it as the opposite. If he knew for sure she wasn't coming back or she was dead, then there'd be no need to file for custody. He was worried that she was going to come back, take the kids in bunks, which happens all the time, especially with mothers who leave their kids and come back after a period of time. Ask Nicky Rule and his grandma about it. He seems to check out. Police have said he's not a suspect. Here is a screenshot of that little piece. Please pause it if you want to read it. But I want to just touch on two other things.
By the way, we have another membership. It's a higher level. You get more information. It's called All the Tings, after our friend Denny. Jean said, Brooks, I love you. No one will convince me who's who. I think for myself, I just hope Summer Wells gets justice. Me too. All we want is the truth. That's all we want.
Yeah.
And little by little, the information comes out. Do I think Dawn and Candace have information? I do. Do I feel bad when people attack me and say, why are you giving them airtime? Oh my God, Brooks, get a job. Like, what's going on with you? Go play with your cat. These are suspects. These are persons of interest in a missing girl's case.
Yes, it's very, very much worth remembering. Ronnie Lawson stated nobody's cleared and nobody is off the table. Nothing. And this is 5 years later and no one has been cleared.
And then since Dawn loves to talk about statistics, excuse me, I've got a cold. For one person to go missing in your core group is way out the realm. Way out the realm. 2 in your family? That's absolutely insane. That's like me doing a backflip in the rain during a tornado.
Yep.
I mean, that's insane. That's crazy business. And we're getting to the point where Summer will have been missing longer than she's been alive. Have her parents thought about that? Has her grandmother thought about that?
I highly doubt it. I believe Candace said recently to someone that she hopes she's not found.
Mm-hmm.
What parent says that? I mean, obviously at this stage, the odds of them being alive wouldn't be great, but you would still want to take your child and give them a resting place and honor them, at least normal mothers would.
You think so? I mean, look at Sean Hornbeck's mother.
Exactly.
She said she could feel that her son was still alive. FBI said there is basically a 1% chance he's alive. Well, guess what? He was alive, and she never gave up. Even though every freaking psychic in the country told her, oh no, he's dead. He's in water. He was in a house.
Yeah.
The only people that Candace agrees with are the psychics that tell her that Summer's just dead and can't be found.
Yeah, basically.
People that believe in psychics are the same people that read horoscopes and believe them.
Mm-hmm.
Never convinced me otherwise. I wrecked my car. That's such an Aquarius thing to do.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
But aside from that, I mean, people can have their personal beliefs, but honestly, if you know or you have that psychic ability and you know all this, you should be able to walk the police to exactly where Summer is. You know?
If I had that ability, I would be in my Denali driving to their police station saying, I know exactly where she's at.
Exactly.
And if you don't do it, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
We did have a psychic on the show several years ago, and he called right out where Tara Strozier was. And I did encourage him to call OSBI. And I mean, of course, I mean, they have to take down every tip. And whether they checked out his tip or not, or if the evidence was there, I mean, either way, that's exactly where she was found. And that's why I don't deal with psychics, because that shit freaks me out.
Yeah. I mean, if you honestly knew, you would go and inform them the exact location.
There you go. Or do it yourself.
Yep.
Anyway, I mean, this is a mess. It's a big old messy mess. And, you know, I agree with Scott Roush that Grandus, she skates. You know, when the kitchen gets too hot, she's out.
Plus, she's the common denominator in both disappearances.
Yep. I mean, you got Candace telling Noelle, you know, white boy's wife, well, I hope they don't find her. She said she had to put Summer on the back burner because, well, her boys are still alive. How do you know Summer's not alive? How do you know?
You don't. But I think as a parent, probably there's that 1% of you that would always hang on to the hope. But even if you believed it was going to be a recovery, you know, you would still want your child back, as I said, so you can lay them to rest and you know where they are and give them the respect and honor they deserve in their passing, you know?
Well, if you want to know, you want to know, but they seem to not want to know. All right, everyone, this has been a great show. I want to say thank you so much for all the jewels, the memberships. Look at this. Gigi, look at you go. Pat K's been a member for 55 months. Woo. Jules is putting out Crime Lines and Lies memberships. Paper cut, more jewels from Jenny. I don't know what those mean, but I got it. Basement Jesus, Bonafide's a new member. The hell's my husband doing? He sent me a silver star. He knows I hate silver. Kimberly Mann sent, oh my gosh, Elisa A, thank you for the super sticker. You guys are the absolute best. So everyone have a great rest of your afternoon, and I'm going to prepare a members live only for tomorrow. And we will be talking to people that are involved with the cemetery dig. Okay? Wow. And so get ready. I'm going to need some help. And I guess it would be better to do it public, but I don't want a dumpster fire. Everyone have a great rest of your day, and I will see you over in Discord. I think Laura's going to whip up a Discord live in a second. You all are the best. Have a great Thursday. Love you. Bye.
Bye.